Hi, my name is Andrew. I'm 19 years old, and I have been diagnosed with OCD and Asperger's. So I've believed I was diagnosed with OCD when I was 9 years old, and I was diagnosed with Asperger's when I was, I've believed, 12, 10 to 12. Something that's frustrated me has been when people with pretty minor conditions like Asperger's have talked about their Asperger's diagnosis as if it's like they just got like a cancer diagnosis. So I haven't wanted to have come off to people like I've been treating my Asperger's diagnosis like it's been like, oh, I was diagnosed with cancer. Oh, Asperger's has seemed like, in terms of suffering that OCD and Asperger's has caused me, I felt like Asperger's has been basically nothing in terms of OCD. According to neuroscientist Andrew Huberman, OCD has been ranked as the seventh most debilitating illness. That hasn't just been psychiatric. Apparently, that's been all illnesses. A lot of people haven't really thought of it being that bad, though. A lot of people have thought of OCD as, in a nutshell, just having been like, oh, those OCD people, oh, well, they've been very organized. You know, maybe they've had these weird compulsions to flip light switches, and they've been kind of germaphobes. Some people have said stuff like, oh, I'm so OCD, when what they've really meant is that they've just liked things organized. The earliest time in my life where I was really suicidal was when I was 12 years old. That was because of OCD. I had such bad hand washing OCD that I literally washed my hands till they looked like raw meat. Like they looked like, imagine like a cutoff right here from like white skin to like straight up red. I looked like a burn victim. My contamination OCD was so bad that I switched schools because of it. I moved in with my grandparents because of it. It seemed embarrassing, but there was a time when I was younger when my family was trying to move a desk out of my bedroom that I had at my parents' house. And I was like screaming, like, because it was like my contamination OCD was like so bad. It was embarrassing. And this is the kind of stuff you don't think about. It wasn't just this, just me being just a overreactive kid. It's like a disease. It's been like a disease in my brain. And I felt like no matter how hard I fought and no matter how much time has passed, OCD has changed. That's the thing. It hasn't felt like it's gone away. It's felt like it's just changed. OCD has been like whack-a-mole. It's like, imagine you have like really bad contamination OCD and it's so severe that it's like ruining your life and your ability to interact and be with people. And then you imagine that after years of working on that, it goes away. And then as soon as it goes away, very shortly after, another thing just pops up that's just as bad as the last. That's what OCD has been like for a lot of people. These past about 3 years have been OCD at its worst that it's been in the past for me. So I was raised in a Christian household. And years ago, I felt like my faith was my biggest source of comfort. It felt like it gave me a reason to live. It felt like it gave me a purpose in life. People that have had OCD, that have been Christians, have had a very, very intense moral scrupulosity. It's basically been an intense fear of sinning, which a lot of Christians in general have had, right? But it's been like, you imagine that no matter how much scripture you read, no matter how much counsel you get, it's like there's a loop in your brain that is consistently making you feel like it is literally impossible for you to have assurance of your salvation, that you are going to heaven. See, OCD has been like a feedback loop in your brain. You imagine that you flip a light switch and your brain has recognized that you've flipped the light switch and you've been able to go about your day without a second thought about it, right? People with OCD, with the light switch thing, for example, if someone has an OCD compulsion regarding flipping a light switch, expect them to have to flip that light switch like 50 times for them to get that click in their brain. OCD has essentially been a malfunctioning in the brain. So with Christians, they may have been able to have read scripture and they've read something and it's comforted them and they've gone about their day. People with OCD, even their prayers has felt as if it's been an OCD compulsion. Imagine you praying 150 plus times a day and still feeling almost zero peace from it. And you imagine having constant anxiety practically from the moment that you wake up to the moment you go to sleep. every single day for years. That's what it's been like for about the past 3 years. I have prayed and prayed and prayed, and I've sought counsel. I've gone to church. For a while, I basically went monk mode. I basically lived in my room back at my parents' house, and I watched sermons and I read the Bible, and that basically was my life in a nutshell for quite a while in the past. And it wasn't healthy. Like, it didn't seem like it was bringing me much peace. It was unhealthy. I felt depressed. I felt miserable. It sucked. Essentially, these past 3 years, every single day has been a struggle just to survive. And it's one of those things where someone that doesn't have OCD, who hasn't experienced that, has probably looked at me and been like, what do you have to be depressed about? It's like, you're 19. What struggles do you have? You're 19 years old. What could possibly be so bad about your life? And it's been a struggle because it's been like, I've understood that these people have come from a place of ignorance. I feel like these people, they literally can't fully understand it. It is impossible for them to fully understand it because they haven't experienced it. Because of my OCD, it's made it so that I feel like it's been impossible for me to have enjoyed life. Even the things that I took comfort in the past, like the things that I had as hobbies, have felt like it's been impossible for me to have enjoyed in the past recently. Imagine you having all the money you could ever want. Imagine you having every single material thing you could ever ask for, every relationship you could ever ask for. You imagine that you're still barely able to enjoy it because of a condition in your brain that apparently has been cured. There actually was a guy who cured his OCD. And you know how he cured it? Was it a pill? No, it was a bullet to the head. He survived. He managed to survive. It was a .22 caliber. But I mean, is that my option? I was reading earlier about the surgery that apparently some people have had, and I don't know whether or not that's been widely accessible. But even then, I feel like even if I had the surgery, the moral scrupulosity I felt, it's like that wouldn't reverse what I've done in the past. The way that my OCD has manifested itself, seemingly at its absolute worst, has been an intense fear of making vows. It has felt like it has destroyed my life. You imagine yourself having overthought basically every syllable that's come out of your mouth, and even the ones that you've thought, even thoughts in your head. You imagine you mistaking that of, was that a vow? Was that a vow? Was that not a vow? Constantly, from the moment that you wake up to the moment you go to sleep. The point where it seemed like it's felt impossible for you to have enjoyed video games, music, movies, conversations, because you've had a fear that you've made a vow or maybe a collection of vows that have prevented you from being able to enjoy that without sinning against God in some way. I have prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed for help with this. The Bible has talked about sinning against your conscience, right? I felt like pretty much every Christian on this planet has taken their conscience for granted because their conscience has allowed them to do things they haven't really thought twice about. And even if they have thought twice about it, it probably has not been weighing on them basically all day. People with OCD have had really bad doubting issues. And what that's manifested itself as has been a doubt of basically anything being okay. If you have done something, biblically, if you have done something against your conscience, even if the Bible has stated that it in and of itself has not been a sin, if it has been against your conscience, that has been sin for you. But people with OCD, though, that has seemed completely unfair, because if you've had a condition in your brain that has caused intense doubts and fears that you've prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed about, and because of that condition, you felt like you've been unable to function without having sinned against your conscience, what is the alternative? I've understood that people that haven't understood this have wanted to try to find biblical answers, and that's been understandable. That's what I searched for years. My struggles with my faith have not been built purely off of emotion. I've believed that there have been people who have ditched the Christian faith for stupid reasons, for really stupid reasons. For example, if someone's grandma died and their response has been to ditch the Christian faith because they've thought, well, I just couldn't understand the idea that a loving God could ever let my grandma die because I loved her a lot. It's like, I'm sorry your grandma passed away, but the Bible never said your grandma wasn't going to die. What the Bible did say was that God was always going to be faithful to provide us a way out of temptation. So, for me, what has been my way out of temptation? What has it been when I have prayed and prayed and prayed for a way out and seemingly no way has come to me because of a condition that I did not choose to have? Where is my way out? I've searched and I've searched and I have prayed and I've sought counsel. And essentially, I've got to a point where I have felt utterly alone. I felt like I haven't fit in with normal Christians. I feel like I haven't fit in with many other Christians because they haven't understood this. And it's like their faith has seemed so easy to them, right? It's like they've taken their faith and their conscience for granted. And this has been something that they've just had. It's like they probably barely ever worried about it because they probably haven't felt like they've had to worry about it. On the other hand, I feel like I haven't fit in with like super atheistic circles because a lot of people that have like just been like super Christian hating people, like people that just they've hated all Christians. I've had a frustration with people who have been like super hateful towards Christian people, like all of them just for being Christians. Like even if they've been super loving people, people have just hated and had this spite against all Christians because of it. That's been ridiculous to me. I've gotten to a point where I basically felt like life has been impossible to have been enjoyed properly for the past multiple years. And I've come to a point where I have tried and tried and tried. And I felt like it's like literally anything and everything has felt like it's been impossible to have properly enjoyed without my OCD pounding on my brain and on my conscience for the past multiple years. And honestly, I don't know whether or not I'm even going to make it to 20. When I was a kid, I wanted to have been a YouTuber. And that was a dream that I didn't really put a lot of videos into in the past. But I figured that if I haven't felt like my life has significantly improved by the end of 2026, expect me not to be here in 2027. When I was younger, what felt really scary to me was not just the fear of death. What felt a lot more terrifying to me was the idea of having died without really having accomplished the dreams that I had. And OCD has made it feel almost impossible for me to have achieved a lot of those dreams in the past. So please, if you can, please share this video around. Please have this get some sort of traction because I felt desperate. If you don't see me again, please take this as an explanation for why I've been horribly depressed for the past multiple years that I've been depressed. And please, and you also view this as a goodbye. I've been broke. I've had less than $1,000 in my bank account. If anybody is watching this that is Christian, please pray for me. Even though I felt like I don't know whether or not that would even do anything. Tag Stuart and the Cliff guy. If you want me to have made more content, please subscribe. Please, thank you for you being you.